धागे न तिनक धिन 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 धागे न तिनक धिन.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Morid. And poor rich kids get their money off on it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah, we got the goods. Build them assets, build them up fast. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a blast from the past. We on the smash now, be prepared to hit the gas, yeah. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel. Drive. Blood eye, and we travel. Woo. That's my child. Woo. Blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the high, yeah. Sharing Oaxaca from Virginia. Yeah. I know I'm more because I'm blessed. I know I'm more. I passed the test.
We got to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel. Drive. Blood eye, and we travel. Woo. That's my child. Woo. Blood eye, and we travel. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the high, yeah.
Peace to the party. It's your homeboy back again. Hey, so shout out to all the supporters, man, of the autonomous party. I know it goes without saying, but we got to make sure we show appreciation to the support because it's rare. And we're going to kind of talk about that today. That's going to kind of drive the news segment because, you know, important live for the streets, man. We want to know what the people really talking about so that way we can effectively communicate and position this message to get in front of the eyes that we are trying to get it into, right? Independent media, you know, a lot of people joke on about YouTubers or content creators as they call it, but it literally is the new media, and it is it's a war against legacy media because it's a lot going on, right? The same way information can be disseminated faster through the social media platforms, you can also put misinformation out there. So you got a lot going on right now, man. But shout out to the people that's looking for an autonomous perspective. And, you know, you pay interest to this, bro, because it matters. So, hey, hit the like button on the way in, right? Share it to your people, man. In the chat, let's get active, man. Y'all talk to me, give me some feedback. Because today we got to talk about something, man. I seen this piece of content from this sister, man, and she was talking, you know, and it's a conversation that I think needs to be had. So I want y'all to hear what she's saying, basically about Black people and intellectualism and kind of where we are with it right now in today's time. So I want y'all to hear what she got to say, and let me know what y'all think in the chat, and I'm gonna give you my opinion too. So let's start there.
Saddest thing that I have observed about Black Americans is that Black Americans have absolutely no idea how unintellectual collectively the Black American people.
Hey, real quick, got a shout out. So you talking about Melanation, that song, that's Black Jack. Yeah, so y'all like that, let him know in the chat, because he's big supporter of the Autonomous Party and likewise to his music. So yeah, pretty sure he'll be happy to see that. It's jamming.
I'm sorry. I'm saying this as someone who has literally lived for major moments of my life on 3 different continents. Okay, someone who has relationships with people all over the world, someone who has traveled all over the world, someone who has put a lot of energy and effort into getting to know humanity. Okay? So when I say this, I'm not saying it as some bitter, broken, whatever. Like, I've literally lived all my dreams. I'm 36 years old. I've run out of shit to do. And now I'm just sitting in my car waiting for my next breakthrough. Okay? So I'm telling y'all that we are intellectually delayed. The conversations that Black Americans are having are about celebrities and bullshit that does not matter. They're talking about what the American teenagers are talking about. That's what full-grown adults, millennials, are trapped at, like 16 to 19, maybe 22 years old intellectually. And their conversations are around bullshit that is not going to progress humanity or save them or their bloodlines at all. They're stuck. And that's intentional. The music is low vibrational and stupid. The entertainment is low vibrational and wicked and corrupt and perverted. It's all very it's intentional. It's 444 right now. So if you want to actually break yourself free from this bondage that you're in, you're going to have to actually pursue true intellect and wisdom. You cannot keep listening to people who tell you what to think and think that you are becoming smarter. You are not evolving. You are just letting other people tell you how to think, and you don't even know where their intellectual capacity is or what their intentions are. I hope I'm making sense. You have to read books. You have to travel. You have to learn other languages. You have to have relationships with people outside of the people that you've known your entire life. You have to take leaps of faith. You have to isolate yourself. You have to have times where it's just you and God. You have to do the scary thing. You have to get your heart broken. If you're not doing these things, you have to pursue dreams. You have to set goals and achieve those and then set more goals. If that's not what you're not doing, if that's not what you're doing, then you are not evolving. You're stuck. Wherever you stop doing that is where you are stuck. And the rest of the world is not stuck the way that Black Americans are stuck. And the rest of the world really does not give a damn, because the rest of the world is prioritizing themselves and their own survival and perpetuation. It is up to Black people to prioritize our own survival and perpetuation. But you all would much rather just fight the people who want you to grow. It's absurd, but it makes sense because you're low vibrational and intellectually delayed. So that's what intellectually delayed people do. So I'm not mad at y'all.
Hey, so I read the comments. She drops a lot of content talking about, related topics, education, things of that sort. So I ain't gonna hold you. Never met her before, but I agree with her personally, because I know I could tell you from my own experience going out here and sharing your opinion, documenting your sources, trying to engage in a conversation that's intellectual, right? I've always run into the same problem to where, first off, nobody's really trying to engage and get an understanding. They responding to attack out the dump. And then not too long after an exchange, it's going to get personal or emotional, or it just get away from the basis of the conversation. We see right now when we put out content, anybody who creates content knows this, why most people can't succeed is because the comments is real. The attention that you get negatively first is what detracts most people. It's just the reality of it, especially in our community, because the way we do it is much better. The way we joke and hop on somebody, boy, ain't nothing like it. Black Twitter, as they say, or just a Black social media, get a hold of whatever your content is, and they gonna find the jokes for days, right? It just is what it is. But I'm not seeing a lot of substance. Very rarely do people, we've been issuing a challenge to people of any different thought process. Hey, let's have this conversation live, a debate, as you will. And it ain't too many people that really actually want to do that. And that got to make you wonder. So where did that change within us as a people to where we lose our intellectual ability as a whole. We ain't talking about the fews and the who's, bro. We talking about as a majority class. If you dropped somebody off in a majority Black neighborhood and anywhere in America, what would be the conversations if you went to around a group of your peers, your same age range and demographic? Would it be about building and strategy and finances and health and, you know, spirituality, or would it be a whole bunch of dumb shit? Y'all got to keep it real, bro. Y'all let me know. Maybe y'all around a select few that in some cities I don't know about, I need to go check out. Like I said, I'm not saying that it don't exist. I'm saying that in knowing how far behind we is on the race of life, right? Because like she just said, these other people is worried about securing their interests, because this is for real. This ain't no make-believe fairy tale. This is our actual real reality. And if we don't plan and strategize and have tough conversations from an intellectual basis, there's no way we stand a chance to getting out of this position. I guess folks think it's really a joke. I don't know. But, you know, it's pretty crazy. So, yeah. So, but Angela say every ethnicity and nationality is engaged in positioning themselves for their progeny's future and legacies. Lineage matters. Exactly. And we dropping the ball on that. I just got to keep it real, because I know I'm not seeing them type of conversations on a regular. And when I myself personally try to introduce them, you know, it's not going to do the type of numbers that some type of other content would. It's just the reality. You feel me? It's a reason why certain creators only chase certain topics, because it's what's going to help them in the algorithm. That's what happened. So he giving out what do you say? He said, y'all giving out intellectual conversations in real time. And that's always been the goal, right? It would be much easier if we just covered hip hop or dating, you know, it would go crazy numbers. But we taking the slow route because we're doing something that we really believe in, while also trying to have a little fun with it. Learning don't got to be boring. Intellectual don't mean boring. We still, you feel me? Hey, we working on something. Appreciate that. And then, yeah, so we about to get to this. So next thing on the docket, right? You know, I got my ear to the streets. I see Deontay Cal, who has a podcast. He's doing his thing. His name ringing. He brought up FBA. Now, I'm not sure the back and forth, because I haven't watched his content I've seen clips, but I've never watched any of his episodes to be able to know if there was some back and forth. But I seen Deontay Cal, he going viral on this clip. I want to know what y'all think about it. I'm going to give you my thoughts after, but this is the first video that he had. And then I'm going to play the second one too. Hold on.
Niggas like Tariq Nasheed gaining such a following because he's abusive in his verbiage. He's abusive in his rhetoric, and he's here to divide. And his psychology is that of a pimp. All of his books prior to his Black liberation, Black nationalist, Black power movement, all his books was about being a player and a pickup artist. Basically, he was trying to teach you how to be a pimp. Well, we know the pimp to pastor pipeline. A lot of niggas jump out the pimp and go straight into the pastor. That's the best thing smoking. But as things change, as cultures change and evolve, well, he just decided to do it in the Pan-African Black space, and then dropped the Pan-Africanism. Hidden Colors was all about what was going on in Africa. All this acknowledgement of Africa. A film directed by him, produced by him. Extremely Pan-African film. What is the person who has this gift of gab, the pickup artist, the pimp, who has seen a righteous path, but didn't see no money in that? Well, what do you got to do? You got to get back to pimping. But you got to pimp minds. So what is the advocacy for? What is the abuse that he carries out? Separation versus inclusion. He wants the Black American to separate from global Blackness. He wants you isolated here on your own. What do cult leaders do? They separate you. They promise you all these great things. They speak sweet nothings to you. He's gonna tell you about every accomplishment that the Black American has made, created, or been involved in. He's gonna continue to remind you and pump this false sense of superiority into you. Instead of being inclusionary, understanding that Africans have had a hand in some of the biggest inventions in this world. The fucking fathers of civilization, the mothers of civilization, the creators of arithmetic. But the thing is that that's not good for business. He tried it with Hidden Colors. It didn't hit the same. People were starting to get away from it because it's a hype, it's a feel-good moment, but there's nothing to capitalize on it. So then you get micro movements versus mass communal practices. What does the divider do? What does the abuser do? What does the cult leader do? What does the pickup artist turn African, Pan-African, turn hyper-American patriot do? Separate, micro move, internet rhetoric surrounded by hate speech and fear-mongering. Black nationalism has parallels to white nationalism in the rhetoric of separatism and overlaps of the tribes of Judah that exist in white supremacist groups as well. Some of the most radical white supremacists also talk about the tribes of Judah. So they think their superiority is divine as well, nigga. So if you got the same talking points as Nazis, that nigga's a fed.
Hey, so I want y'all to hear it. I'm gonna play the second one, but I want y'all to hear it in totality, so you don't, we don't take them out of context, right? So, right, exactly. So this is exactly what I was about to say. So, multiple things can be true at once. Okay, so in agreement with Deontay Cal, the stuff about Tariq Nasheed passed, that's what the word is. That you was on a different type of time. In the field that you was in is very easy. You talking about the pimp game. The pimp game mean you got to be successful, you need a mouthpiece. You need to be able to know how to talk effectively, communicate. Feel me? So that can translate into a whole other lot of worlds, right? So he said it's a pipeline to go into the church and become a pastor coming out the streets. That's true. All right, so I can't knock him on that. All right, so also Tariq did start real African-centric. That's true, but I can't knock him for that because I feel like everybody who go, unless you was one of the few that was blessed to have been taught your lineage from a child and you was always connected, most of us through this conscious journey is going to start on the Pan-African side. So I can't necessarily knock him for evolving, you know what I'm saying? But that it did happen like that, right? So just being factual. So now I want to play this second video because this is where Deontay Cal. Okay, so lastly, he called him a fed. I can't, I don't like to put them type of charges on people without some type of documentation, but documentation ain't always easy if you are indeed one of these people, right? So, I don't know what he would be accomplishing because, we'll get to that in a minute. So here go the second video. This is what got the FBA people. This what got them riled up. They called their leader a fed, and then check this out. This right here is crazy.
BA, the foundational Black American. These niggas ain't involved in nothing outside. They ain't doing shit outside. They on the internet looking for niggas that look just like them to degrade and call tethers all day. I don't see these niggas doing no work against none of these fucking Nazis, none of these fucking Klansmen, nothing. All I see is them niggas calling out other black people all day. That's divisive as fuck. Questioning niggas. Where you from? Where was you born? Nigga gotta show you your freedom papers? Damn, massa. I gotta show you the freedom papers? Who is these niggas on this nag? Bunch of motherfucking Stevens over there trying to check a nigga blood. Wanna check a nigga papers. Sound like ICE. Another 3-letter organization. Healing and perspective or hate speech and fear mongering. But a lot of us only know how to be in community with abusers. So when niggas start talking about healing, when niggas start talking about organization, we start talking about inclusion, we start talking about mass communal practices. You've never seen that. That's not your experience. That's not where you feel comfortable. Calling niggas names, checking niggas verification. What hood is this? What hood is that? Now, if we was gangbanging and killing each other, it would be a problem. But it's not a problem when a nigga asks where you from and it's on the internet and it's on the basis of a culture that we created out of oppression. You don't want to let other niggas niggas participate in your culture because they come over here and degrade him. And you know the business of colonization better than anybody. These niggas is brainwashed. I'm not going back and forth with no nigga that come here from another country in search of the American dream when I know this shit is a nightmare. I'm not going back and forth with no nigga that think he finna get some favor from how many niggas have we seen tap dance and degrade black people that are from America, born in America? When niggas do it from abroad, I don't say it's an issue with them. I know that they're brainwashed by the system because they went through colonization over there just like we went through it over here. Why the fuck is they leaving Africa? Because Europeans are destabilizing their countries, inserting capitalist dictators, fascist dictators in more democratic socialist societies, toppling governments, and then sending the niggas fleeing, where do they go? To America. And what do? They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destable black American revolutionaries because they don't know no better. And it's a bunch of niggas in America that don't know no better. They only are used to being in community with abusers. We have been oppressed in this country for 400 years. Some of us don't know how it feels not to be oppressed. Some of you ain't comfortable if you're not oppressed. You've never created an idea of what freedom looks like for you. Black Americans, and I advocate for this, nigga, me and Big Cat are the blackest of black Americans. We are true to the black American experience. We are proud. We also understand that our story doesn't start here nor end here. The Panthers were Pan-Africanists. Marcus Garvey was a Pan-Africanist. All the leaders and things that came before you that gave you the blueprint to feel revolutionary were also thinking about global movements, mass communal practices instead of micro movements.
Hey, so he said a lot there. But I want to hit on points that I don't agree with. So he's and Deontay Cal is basically speaking to say that Pan-Africanism, that thought is the way forward. It is not. The people he just named wasn't even true to that. That's what they put on the books to say they was about, but they never led no liberation to Africa. This was just a talking point, right? And we see the result of what their movements was. You feel me? And all of us who've done our history, we understand the whole paradigm that this come from. So bro right here just said, Henry, he said, isn't Pan-Africanism all about superiority? They talk all day about Africans created everything and they deserve all the credit. And he even said it. He mentioned it when he was talking about all the inventions that came from Africa, when really there's no proof of those people being Africans, though. We know it happened in America, so it didn't happen in Africa. Feel me? So it's definitely a superiority that comes with it. Like he even said, black nationalism. So that's the part I do agree. So with Tariq Nasheed, I do agree that delineation needs to happen because people that are coming into this country that look like us do not share the same lineage and backstory. We know and understand that. But the problem with FBA is they're not leading people anywhere with this information. They just really, like he said, telling jokes. So I can't lie and say they building something and actually establishing real genealogy. Who knows, they may in the future. But this is part of, here go the back and forth, right? So here's a time for intellectualism because this could easily be squashed. You know how? Talk about it live. Everybody say they know the way, but ain't nobody trying to be challenged. We've been offering a challenge for people to say that if you came true, that we talk about this Black European, they say we crazy. We talk about white slaves, they say we crazy. We telling them about the Indians and how it was much greater of a society being built here, and it was in collaboration with Europeans. They say we crazy. And we always showing our sources, but who trying to show up and be an intellectual? Y'all don't understand. So Pan-African, right? They heavily embedded with the Democrats. It's not about a bias, it's just the truth. This is why you'll see your Black Caucus. They got the kente cloth and they all Democrats. Come on, bro. So then they get people like this. They influence our mind with petty bullshit like this right here. Check out your boy.
Breaking news, Don Lemon has just been released after appearing in LA federal court this afternoon.
Lemon spoke briefly about
Reporter Josh Haskell is live in downtown LA with the breaking developments. Josh?
And David and Giovanna, President Trump's Department of Justice tried to present Don Lemon as a flight risk. They said that they want to restrict his travel just to Minnesota and New York. They also wanted $100,000 bond. That was all denied by the judge. Don Lemon will have a court date in Minnesota next month. Now, once leaving this courthouse, Don Lemon walked to cameras. This is what he said.
I've spent my entire career covering I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court.
Hey, bro. So I told y'all what was going to happen. They ended up playing games and the distraction. I just took it down. But this is what this is. This is a game. They're trying to say they putting them up on the Face Act. You know, it's really a stretch to do it. Was Don Lemon and them people wrong? 100%. You went to private property protesting and recording it. You can't do that nowhere, bro. You can't go onto any private property and record them without their consent, bro. Let alone disrupt what they got going on. Like, where in the world would that work? That can get you shot some places. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do that down south. You see, they picked the perfect place to be able to do that. That's not a game that you play, right? So whatever come with it, they really asked for that. I don't think it'll really end up being no federal charges. I think it's just gonna make Don Lemon more infamous and make it seem as if the Trump administration is going after reporters. Whole time, if they never would have went in there, none of this would ever even be talked about. So, you know, it just don't make no sense. The whole thing looked fake, and for him to be a media, you know, I'm Don Lemon got way more status and reputation in media than me. But I know one thing: with that type of experience, why you need to read? You got a prepared statement. Just speak from your heart, bro. You went through that. This should be nothing. It's easy work for a professional. I'm just saying, but hey, look, y'all got to keep your eyes on and have a good level of discernment for the media that you intake, who you get your advice from, your information from, because it's a lot of people battling for the mind. Because you get the mind, you got everything else, bro. So we at a time right now where, hey, you know, if you slacking, you're not gonna have the benefit that prior generations had. The way stuff is advancing right now, boy, it ain't looking too good if you don't got a sound mind. But hey, I'm just your homeboy with the news. We finna take it over to the Blackamoors and the making of America. We got to talk about this subject that we don't have a lot of intellectual conversations on, but today we finna have one. So we already got Mac in the back. I finna take it over to the Gullah Man's Choir. They're gonna, you know, fill our soul up real quick. I'm gonna grab you a drink, do whatever you got to do. We'll be back in a few, man. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Y'all tapped in and on it early. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the chat. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the video. Send this out to your people if they come when it's time for the lecture. If you're on Facebook, X, whatever, you can comment there, like it. We're going to see it. Share it out. It's free. Even if you disagree, leave us a comment. We'll get to it if we can. Super chat your questions if you want to for sure get it answered. It just is what it is. Appreciate y'all, though. We going to the Gullah Man Squad, man. Y'all tap in. Let me get them queued up because they steady hitting me.
Yes, Lord. We left this truth in harmony. Make bigger world with the money that we get. Yet our little ones cry with so much life to live. Life to live. Life to live. We stand in the storm, still trusting in love. But when the table's set, who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Millions were taken that belong to the children. Food meant for their hands never reached the building. A system built the doorway and opened it wide. Gave others all the comfort while we stood outside. The officers in power, yeah, pouring out aid. When not one gentle blessing reached the neighborhoods we made. They keep saying equity, calling it trust. Yet the blessings keep on flowing everywhere but us.
Making the world with the money that we get.
Get our little ones cry.
So much life to live.
Ooh, life to live.
Life to live.
We show up faithful, standing strong and just.
So in the table stand. Who's feeding us?
Who's feeding us? We carry the burden of taxes and patience. Still we watch our schools fade in desperation. Silence for the fraud when it happens far away. But scared hands eyes on us whenever we stray. Our voices keep lifting each election year. Yet the love and protection never seem to come near. Promises repeated, settling it does. While resources in favor never fall.
Lift our hopes, Lord.
Lift our hearts.
Guide our children.
Got that star.
No more silence.
No more hugs.
Devastation.
Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us?
Feed the world with the money that we get.
Let our little ones cry.
So much life to live.
Ooh, life to live.
Life to live.
When we stand in faith, then offer our trust. Tell us again, who's feeding us? When we stand in faith, then offer our trust.
Tell us again.
Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us?
Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us?
Who's feeding us?
Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us?
Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us?
Years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land.
Familiar streets, still feel far from home.
Born where the ground know my name, still asking permission to stand. They say So the future in papers, now we pay just to live on the land. No change, just rules we never chose. Old lies dressed up as law. If you don't know what's been taken, you won't miss it at all. Exile in our own land, standing where we belong. Yeah, yeah. They convinced us this ain't our country. Now we've been here moving wrong. Exiled in our own land, roots deep, still feel alone. Taught us how to survive here. Never taught this was home. Hell came tied with a leash. Every favor had a fee. They call it progress, call it order. I call it quiet captivity. If the game was set before us before we learned the rules, you don't blame the player for losing when the table's rigged to choose. No border still confined. They erased us with education, left us searching our own mind. This ain't exile by distance, it's exile by design. They don't have to move you if they move the truth. Now the fight is for remembrance, for the names they made us forget. Once you see it clearly, you don't ask for a seat, you said, same ground, new rules, same blood, new name. Still here, still waiting for what was never meant to change. Still here, still waiting, same blood, still waiting for what was never. Exiled in our own land, but the fog lifting slow. They can't keep what we remember. They can't own what we know. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh.
Check. Oh yeah. Sound good, man. Make sure you listen to the lyrics, man. Let it feed, let it talk to you. Hey, look, we got Mac in the back. It's time to get to it. Let's talk about these Blackamoors. Tap in.
Tap in.
Yeah.
Man.
We hear you loud and clear, bro.
Exiled in your own land. Hey.
Bro.
Veronica, you heard me?
You feel me?
Yeah. Hey, it's your boy Mac Ether, Gullah Mac. You already know what it is. Peace to the party. The autonomous way, you heard me? You know what it is. Maroonville. I know it's cold outside of your areas, because it's cold down here in South Florida. You heard me?
Yeah.
Listen here. Oh, shout out to Lauderdale 954. You know what I'm talking about. Offset Trump. You heard me? Yeah. At the same time, peace to everybody outside, wherever you at, tapped in with us live. You know, thanks for joining us live. What it is, you know, the harsh reality is live life autonomously. Thriller, you heard me? Gullah, you heard me? Yeah, GMC. That's what it is. To the mass, y'all the masses we talking to right now. We want Gullah for you. You heard me? We have to sing it to you, and the choir got to come sing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Hey man, but hey, before last week we had Dr. Dixon. Matter of fact, yep, Dr. Dixon last week. You know what I'm saying? Y'all thought it was a game. You know what I'm talking about? It was not a game. You know what I'm talking about? You thought it was a game. Look, I got three of them. Look.
Oh yeah.
See them, boy?
Oh
yeah, I got three of them. And I'm gonna keep one for myself though. So I already got two. I already got two for y'all. All right. Well, so I got two of them. You know what I'm talking about? Ready for y'all. Shout out to him. He was in town up in West Palm Beach. You know what I'm saying? South Florida still. Doing a presentation that's gonna be coming to Tamarack, Florida. You know what I mean? And we're gonna be doing our big thing on that, you know what I mean, weekend, February 28th. So make sure you tap in with us. That's gonna be a big move coming up. Sis Trunk Festival, same time, same day, last day of Black History Month. I've heard people say they don't celebrate Black History Month no more. So,
Yeah.
we go connect it to Maroonville either way, you heard me? So within that context, situation lays out. We got a big situation coming up, so make sure you tap in with that. We're gonna be promoting different things happening.
Yeah, tell them about it real quick though. Yeah.
I mean, shoot, that weekend, we've been doing it for over the pandemic time frame for a little while now, and basically, how should I say it? We during the pandemic, we had people come in town. Monte, you came in town. That's how you met me, right?
Yep.
We did it the same weekend, which is February 27th through the 1st of March. You know what I'm saying? And then at that point, we laid out, situations for us to be able to, do it again. We did it back to back. Then we took a break, but then we did it the next year after that. You know what I'm saying? And after that, we came in the game and, now we back again. You know what I'm saying? Last year, a couple people came in town. We didn't do it around that time of the year, but we made sure we got together and vibe. It's a social club vibe. You know what I mean? Shout out to the party. You know what I mean? So we get together no matter what. But Maroonville weekend. You know what I'm saying? Patreon. Tap into Patreon. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give 2 of these bad boys away to anybody that subscribes to our Patreon. You know what I mean? We're gonna do it like that. Support us, we support back. It's signed, you know what I mean, by Dr. Dixon. And if you come in town or you come to the joint, if you buy the book, you know what I'm saying, he'll definitely sign it for you as well. So you know what I mean? Just to let you know, something that we got going on. You support us, we support y'all. We're gonna send 2 of these bad boys off to some folk for Black History Month. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the Patreon information is in the description. So you can see the link to go. We got the free option and then we got the other tiers, trying to build it up, man, with y'all support. So appreciate it.
Yeah, and also when you do get in there, you get a lot of other stuff access to. You know what I mean? We got a lot of content in there from the shows. A lot of the stuff that you see us present will be actually on the and written out form for you to go ahead and look at the sources and go do your research autonomously, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we do, and other sources too that we don't get a chance to maybe highlight on the show at a particular time, but we want to make sure it's while it's on the mind that we put it out for everybody to be able to tap into. So that's definitely what it is. You hear me? So yeah, let's get to it though. Hey, my first thing gonna be the situation with go to the political joint, the political national joint, real quick. You know what I'm saying?
It was the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Just I just birthright.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. So yeah, tell them the purpose of you talking about the Blackamoors and the making of America. What made you want to take it this direction today, bro?
What happened was seriously. What happened was when we were doing the race theory situation, we did the red race situation, right? So when we did the red race situation, I was like, well, how's that going to really work in the situation that we talking about? Like, well, what were the people being called prior to the word African being tied to this Black race ideal in situations like that? So I felt like it was important that we lay out, you know what I mean, colonial records and folks coming from different regions into the Americas during the colonial time frame. I guess that would be very foundational. You know what I'm saying? For Black Americans and people who identify with being here prior to 1865 or 1775, 76. You know what I mean? Obviously, would want to know, exiled on their own land. This terminology, because a lot of people throw the word Moorish around. A lot of people throw a lot of different things around, but Blackamoor is really, we speak English right now, so I want to find a word that I felt had the word Black in it. It's Black History Month, first day of it, you hear me? So Blackamoor, Black History, Black America, Making of America. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Tapped in.
Okay. Yeah, it's loading up.
For sure.
Yeah, because the Blackamoor conversation, anything about Black Europeans really is taboo still. They don't really want to acknowledge it. Not the Pan-African side, the Indian side, really nobody, you know what I'm saying? But it's an important piece to the story to make it make sense.
Nah, you know why? Because if you don't understand that whole part of it, then you ain't gonna understand fully why things get mixed up. Even though I'm gonna say it's 3 groups, it's a tri thing going on within the Black dynamic, but the influence that I would say us in America, surnames and certain things that Black European, how that surname come about, because definitely we didn't get it from us being the slave master position of, just white people giving us their surnames and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So the West African, Negro de Guinea, as we talked last week, Angola and all that right there, how that plays a part in the dynamic, especially in the Carolinas and certain things recorded. Angola's obviously in North America, so the presence of it in South America as well, Caribbean. So I'm not gonna go against that. Like as far as that's what it is. But Birthright National, I'm glad you got to that right there. So because all these groups of people, including the indigenous groups of people, obviously this is happening on the land that they were obviously, even to this day, folks that side with just saying they're indigenous or even American Indian. And even that right there is confusing. So I'm gonna say, to be indigenous, because all these groups are indigenous, as we showed last week with this term right here, to the nation we call United States of America. But then there's a whole nother layer of being indigenous prior to 1492. See what I'm saying? And that right there gets confusing, I think, obviously, with people trying to anchoronize, I would say, or anchronism is the term I've been seeing for this logic with how to delineate what the word would be to describe what I see happening. You know what I'm saying? I would say. So either way, getting to the point of the matter, these people clearly ain't giving us the full breakdown of what I need this right here to foundate it, and then we're gonna walk back into the people such as the Blackamoors, who obviously are retired to this situation. But I thought last week, because of this, I want to make sure I get to this real quick one more time for y'all from last week, because it's important. I think let it lock in. Black History Month. You know what I mean? Birthright National versus immigrant status. You know what I mean? And as I heard you even talk about with Tariq Nasheed and those who subscribe FBA and certain things, I see them online doing it too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's definitely on social media, not just him. I'm not gonna say it's always Tariq, but hey, he is the face of it. People don't want to say that, but that's why he's catching all the heat. There's nobody else you see they could point to because he is the face of it. He do got the trademark. It is what it is, right? He's protecting it for, I guess, for those groups of people who are delineating themselves culturally at this time based off of their really being birthright nationals, right? And there's really nothing to delineate about the Black American outside of their heritage of the three different categories of the indigenous, Blackamoor, and that Negro de Guinea that make up the majority of what we would call today that heritage of people. But at the same time, birthright national is what we all fall underneath. So constitutional historical breakdown real quick, 1865. You can slide though, it's there. Everybody see that. The core question, right? Lay that out. Who uniquely occupies the status of birthright people without immigration, right? It says why this position cannot be applied broadly to all minorities or immigrants. Focus. Constitutional structure, not race. See, not this is before race, just like Blackamoor is a term used for these people before race right here, or preference. Keep on sliding, right? Keep on sliding. Pre-1865 Negro population, unique position. Present in the United States prior to Reconstruction, not immigrants, not voluntary entrants under full U.S. jurisdiction, but denied peoplehood. All right, it says converted from property, persons, citizens by constitutional amendment. You know what I'm saying? You can keep sliding. You know what I mean? So this is just, remember who's here there. You see that right there? You see all that right there?
Yeah. So let's give them some more context, right? So they can understand, because I think this is a common misconception that when people hear United States, they think of the system and the power that they know it to have today. Right. Versus at pre-1865, bro, there was not the system that we know of today did not exist at this time. They didn't have power within every state jurisdiction that we have now. A lot of states were still doing their own thing until after the Civil War. So like the power that they wield now, they ain't had that then. No. They didn't have everybody on a census. They didn't have everybody accounted for and all the land masses that they have now. So it was a whole different ballgame.
Right. That's a fact. And that's why, and obviously, most of these people that's why even when we hear people in the position of trying to use, as I heard the dude say earlier that you played the clip of, funny enough, taking shots at the FBA, like if you know your heritage predates 1865, as we've been always taught in Black history, right? Emancipation Proclamation. I think that in Black history, we don't focus enough on the federal part, the jurisdictional part, tied to Black history of our heritage and how that impacted us. You know what I'm saying? And that's more important sometimes than what we focus on dealing with the racial part that really developed, you know, and our heritage was already here prior to the race theory as well. So in North America, prior to, you know, United States of America being formed, you know what I mean? However, converted property of the person. This is going to be tied to the 14th Amendment. When you see that right there, converted property of the person, citizens by constitutional amendment. That's the people being called Negroes, free people of color, indentured, chattel slaves. You want to call yourself a Black Indian. You want to say you were Moorish. You want to say you were Israelite. You know what I mean? You were, okay.
It don't matter.
Yeah, that Negro word applied to your people somehow or another in the transition. You know what I mean? The things we're going to show today, and, you know, this Blackamoor thing, yeah, we're going to show how that worked. Keep sliding, though. All right, see, again, ahead of myself, Reconstruction Amendments. It's the first of the month, right? First of the month. Black history happened.
This is how we got it. Hey, okay, so I see. Yeah, you picked this. It's the first of the Black History month, right?
Yep.
So this is what got us into the Black situation right here.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Right.
It's the core foundation.
Yeah, it's the foundation of us Black Americans, you know what I mean, heritage-wise, being founded constitutionally, birthright nationals to this country, not through Congress, you know what I mean, not through immigration, you know what I mean? If you know that about yourself, you should be secure, understanding how you're entitled to this system. You heard me? Or your mixture, or whatever the case might be. You heard me?
Oh, we finna cook today, bro. Listen, this right here. Let's spin this right here, bro. Yeah, this right here. Yeah, we gotta talk about this.
You see yeah.
This
That's
is
why I
crazy,
started with it.
bro.
Before we get into the build, I want to make sure I feel what's going on. You heard me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tabernacle, the ministry. You heard me? Maranatha. I make sure y'all feel it. You heard me? Coming out that GMC, I gotta make sure y'all understanding what, it's like the appetizer and shit. You heard? So like, you know what I mean? This is the layout though. All right. So historically rare constitutional event. It's we're tied American Negro, Black American, right? Is tied to a very rare situation in the history of America, United States of America. Not South America, not the islands, not Canada. You know what I mean? USA. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Keep sliding. You know what I mean? Make sure you understand that right there. And we're the only ones tied to this right here.
Hey, real quick though.
Right here, we're the only ones tied to this actually. We're the
and
only
this is why it's so important.
Tied to this. Only ones. Only people. Nobody else.
And we already broke down. We already broke down with Travis, right? What they would call a white man who was saying his own people, 75% of them was not here prior to the Civil War. So who was they reconstructing? It was us.
We were getting reconstructed in the situations from free people of color situations and how privatized things were happening. And as a matter of fact, this is what I want you to do after you keep sliding. What else we got on this one? Because I just want to make sure this was laid out. I want to, I'm ready.
Yeah. All right, hold on.
All right, boom. So after that, though, make sure y'all see it now. Voluntary entry into existing constitutional order, right? All right, citizenship acquired by naturalization or descent. Look, why post 1865? Immigrants do not fit. To make sure you understand they're different from, and no matter what complexion of skin, no matter what complexion, what nationality they come from, nation-wise,
they're not the same.
It's just what it is. See, I don't gotta be discriminative. I ain't gotta, you know what I mean? This ain't me. You know what I mean? This ain't no person.
It's just the truth. This is the part that Tariq Nasheed and them is right about when they calling themselves FBA, but they're just not able to explain how they are actually foundationally Black American.
Right.
That's the part they need.
Right. You birthright nationals. I don't need to be in your face about that. You can't be me. I can't be you. If we don't follow this situation, this the standard. You heard me? This the standard. Yeah. All right. Now look. Anybody else though that's coming in? Voluntary entry into existing constitutional order. You know what I mean? Citizenship acquired by naturalization or descent, right? Which means if you come here and you had a child here now, that child through descent, it falls into the process of being born on the land, just so late. You hear me? Now, status granted by statute, not inherent by birth. You know what I mean? Never required constitutional reconstruction. You heard that? Never required constitutional reconstruction. You heard me?
Yep.
Yeah, understand that. Now we sliding up. You know what I mean? That's the difference. They those two things we don't fit in are not white, indigenous people, and other groups. Some whites face marginalizations. That's right. Some whites, as Travis showed you, you know what I mean? Talking about how, you know, them people that were here going into this time. But we're never chattel. They weren't in the chattel position. See that word chattel? See what I'm saying? Because that word chattel going back to the colonial time frame of certain things that's tied to the Inquisition. But you know, Roman, this is the French term for somebody in it. You know, however, indigenous nations retain separate treaty-based status, meaning that's where Title 25 come in at. Those groups of people now, after 1865, are on the rolls of federal recognized situations. That go back to the War Department now, you know, BIA and everything, how it's structured, Reconstruction, right? All these things being set up and how the situation going to be laid out now. So these people underneath Title 25, indigenous nations retain separate treaty-based status. It's award status at the same time. It's semi-autonomous, dependent nation status. You heard me? So neither group shares the Reconstruction pathway, which means it goes back to the Negro. If you happen to be classified in this terminology going into 1865, and your people were in this category we're talking about, even if you know your people had different mixtures, etc., you were in that category. You heard me? From free people of color all the way down to the chattel term that most of our people like to focus on. You heard me? But we're going to show something in a minute after this at the people that's come into 1865 doing certain things. However, conditions may be parallel, but not identical. See what I'm saying? So they're in the same condition as we were talking about last week. Certain people, and even people that all come in afterwards, right? They immigrate in. Now they going to be delineated. They definitely can't be in that indigenous nation's position. They're not all, but they're going to be in some white position. So the closest situation they're going to be in is with the people that's in our position. You know what I mean? Especially if they dark skin. You heard me? You know, just like some white people be in some white face marginalization, like we see it today. Some white people today are marginalized too. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna be biased about it in America. You heard me? You got poor whites, rich whites, you know, classism. However, let me keep sliding. Anything you want to say?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Okay. Final clarification, one more time for y'all for the first of the month, Black History Month. This is a status-based distinction. You know what I mean? It's not a racial hierarchy. It's not something like we could turn into we more dominant, but we is who we is uniquely. You know what I mean? We have our own issues amongst our own heritage of people who are tied to the Reconstruction, birthright nationals, Black Americans. I like to say American Maroons. However, only one group was inside, non-immigrant, non-citizen, then constitutionalized. This defines the unique birthright. Your birthright. Marooned, national position. Oh, a marooned national position, an exile position in your own land.
Correct.
Isn't that what GMC just got through saying, though?
That's exactly what they said.
Okay. Isn't that what Martin Luther King just got through saying, though?
100%.
100 years later, from 1865, we find ourselves exiled, marooned in our own land. Yeah.
And they not understanding. So it's important, man, that we got to understand that these historical timelines matter, especially for us, when our ancestors was impacted by what was going on, to be able to create this 13th and 14th. Them two right there is what changed America. 15th and everything after that was just building upon that. But the 13th and the 14th, very important.
Changed everything. Now, all right, now look. Peak game. My next joint gonna be for I want to show something real quick. Remember I asked you to check. Remember I said, "Hey Monte, check this out." Remember talking about when I said that? Put that to him real quick before we go into the Blackamoors real quick. We got time. It's just us today. It's just us.
Yeah.
For the first of the month, it's just us. Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Check this out.
All right.
All right, make it a little bit bigger for the folk out there. Yeah.
That should be good there.
Yeah. It's got hot just now. Woo. I like it when they put the heat on. All right, now emancipation, emancipators, emancipation, right? 1865. Protectors, anomalies. You know, things be like they say, we are a rare situation, so we like an anomaly. You heard me in America.
Yeah.
13th to the 15th Amendment, Reconstruction. I guess that's the foundation that got.
I'm gonna put the source in the chat.
You throw that in the chat for the folk, right? What did it say at the top though, Monte?
You talking about JSTOR?
Free black,
Free black slave owners in Virginia?
Oh, yeah. Free black slave owners in Virginia. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. Hold on.
By Philip J. Schwartz.
Okay. So Archibald Battle was apparently a successful Virginian.
Maybe Batty?
Excuse me. Say again.
Batte.
Oh, see, I said Battle. My bad. See, look at me. I got the L. So look at my eyes. So my bad, y'all. My bad. That's on me. All right. So Archibald Batty was apparently a successful Virginian, owning property in Chesterfield and Prince George counties. You know what I mean? Shout out to Norfolk up there. You heard me? It's native place I was born. You heard me? Shout out to all my folk up there.
Prince George still hit a lot of black right now.
Say what?
Prince George, ain't that
Yeah, still there. That's still county.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. That's, he was able to provide a good living for Nancy Jenkins Batty, his wife, Eliza Ann Gilliam, his daughter, and Henry S. Sr. I don't want to say senior, but S. Batty, his son. One key to his success was his grocery store in Bermuda 100 under another, the land he framed in nearby Prince George. Like so many Virginians, Batty relied on slaves to perform much of the labor he needed. When he died early in 1830, this prosperous grocer left a moderate estate to his wife, son, and daughter. In some respects, he appears to have been typical of many other Virginia slave owners who owned a modest number of bondsmen. But in one regard, this independent man was distinctly different. He was an Afro-American. There had certainly been free black Virginians who owned slaves before Batty, and others would do so after him. Their enterprise and property had convinced some observers that opportunity did exist for free people of color to prosper and not just survive in the Old Dominion. Their possession of fellow Afro-Americans as human chattel, however, has persuaded others to accuse them of being no better than the white slave owners. In fact, the existence of free Negro slave owners only made more clear the condition of life in society dominated by slaveholders. You heard that? Look at that. Ain't that something? That's before 1865, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
People that we consider foundational. You know what I'm saying? Reconstruction, right?
Yeah.
Because emancipation hit them too. They're emancipators because if you're in a position to free somebody, you're an emancipator. See what I'm saying? Oh, like you're be able to manumit somebody. You see what I'm saying? Yep. Like you're in that position. You're in that position. You hear me? So this is make sure this is Black history. You know what I'm talking about? This is Black history right here. So I want to just lay that out though. You hear me?
That's what I was talking about right here. Prince George's County, Maryland is still the most affluent black community in the U.S. This has been attributed to federal government employment, but these days that's most likely not the only reason. Yeah.
That part. Shout out to you, V. Cooper.
Yep. Right on time.
You know, right on time. So yeah, that right there, you know, this is just proof. You know what I mean? They know. You know what I mean? We put the source in there though. I also want because that's in context of how we just got through talking about chattel, right?
Yeah.
And you feel me? There's black people that had other black people in chattel positions. See what I'm saying? So yeah, shout out to 9 Ether, right? When we went over how Johnson, you know what I mean, Anthony was able to do his thing throughout the generations of his timeline and his state coming through 1619 all the way up to 1865 and beyond. So, you know, shout out to their family, their, you know, family estate that's still living.
Hey, hold on real quick. Let me read this part right here, bro.
Go ahead.
It say, later recognized as slaves without masters who were neither slave nor free. Free Negroes live perilously close to what sociologist Orlando Patterson has called social death. Their ownership of slaves consequently was exceptional and anomalous, allowed only at the sufferance of white slave owners and mostly intended to reduce the risk of living free and black in a slave society. In the 1830s, probably the peak of such ownership, no more than 1,000 of the more than 55,000 free Negroes in the Old Dominion held human property for any reason, although the number of free Black Virginians would grow to more than 58,000 by 1860. The number of those who were slave owners dramatically declined after 1830.
That part.
So if they had 58,000 that they were accounting for as free Blacks, which is mean they were a part of the American system,
correct,
but they were not property to anybody.
Nope.
So that don't include Indians who have nothing to do with this government. They're not being accounted for in this area. But they're telling you in 1830, they got just in Virginia. So what you think the other 13 colonies was looking like in this same time? Probably had similar numbers.
Oh yeah, that Labrie, that you know what I mean. You know what I mean, that Labrie, them French. Yep. You know, that's the free people of color term they got. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. All these groups, Spanish, Spain, you heard me? They put out the decree. You know what I'm talking about? The decree in 1693. You heard me? And we can walk that up too. We can do that. We can shout out to Dr. Dixon, St. Augustine, and all that right there.
Yeah.
Let's tie to that, but I ain't gonna get too far off course. You heard me? But yeah, that right there is all within that. You see that? You read it for yourself, and everybody can see it. They got the source in the link. You put the source in there, right? So,
yeah, it's in the chat.
And y'all go ahead and take that for Black History Month. You know what I mean? Talking about them Black slaveholders. You know what I'm talking about? Now we ain't saying all Black people were slaveholders either, right?
No.
Just because we show you that don't mean everybody's doing that, right?
And also we got to frame like, so when you read this stuff, bro, I know y'all gonna be mad at me. I'm just telling you the
don't
truth.
Be mad at us. Be mad at the source.
But not even just that. No matter whether you was a white or a Black slave owner, you got to take the narrative out of what you think slavery to be. In a legal term, it's simply just, hold on, my camera's sweet. In the legal terms, it only means that you don't own land and you're working somebody else's business. You're an employee. Literally. I don't care what they put in these movies based on the records and the documentation. These people this is their biggest asset, was the people who work this land. It don't matter if you got 1,000 acres, if you don't got but 3 people on your estate, you won't make any money.
That part.
So who's really enslaved to who? Because if I don't have these people on my land, this land means nothing.
Who got their allotments coming out that war? And the Civil War. I mean, we're not Civil War, the American Revolutionary Wars. My bad. You feel me? The when you say right here, so slide up a little more. Look at that part of Cardi G. Woodson for Black History Month. You know, he the founder of Black History Month. We can't stop right there. No, stop right there.
Yep, right here. Yeah.
You can't not talk about it's only shout out to him. Black History Month, Cardi G. Woodson, because he don't even get shout outs no more in Black History.
Yeah, they don't talk about him.
You know what I'm saying? But right there, the work of Cardi G. Woodson, Luther P. Jackson, John H. Russell, James H. Johnston, and other scholars was comprehensive in illuminating, you know what I'm saying? These historians were bold in their decision to focus on Black Americans as worthy objects of study instead of imitating the work of such contemporary, modern shit. Well, I lost my second trying to freestyle. White historians as U.B. Phillips, who concentrated on slaveholders to the exclusion of Blacks, whom, in apt words of recent Phillips biographer, he did not take seriously as persons having emotions, needs, and capacities parallel with those of their white associates. You know what I mean? Talking about Woodson and them weren't looking at us as we was just some docile, non-intellectual.
They were trying to leave us some clues, bro, of what was going on.
Listen here, highly intellectual folk. Everybody ain't out the bush. I don't know what that playing the monkey game, how they try to play it. You heard me? And
but if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even be able to prove like, because we had the hardest time getting folks. There's still Black people right now today who think that if you existed in in North America prior to the Civil War, everybody that was Black was a slave.
That part. That's a bad misconception too.
It's a terrible misconception.
The lawful part of the 1865 being a federal situation, which is releasing everybody at the lowest situation of chattel position in the country, of going from property to person. See what I'm saying?
So this comment right here sum it up. Really, it says slavery was a status not a pure race-based institute. Exactly. It didn't matter where you was from. Anybody could be put into slavery, or here go the other one, put yourself into slavery. It means you are looking for employment. Chattel is a little bit different. However, we know the only people that was really practicing the chattel was Spain, was Rome. After they did what they did, though, the 13 colonies, they wasn't on that. They got way more proof of indentures than chattels. Like, it's not even close. No matter what their skin color was. Because all the ones they do, Equiano, anybody they name, them boys was indentured. They weren't chattel.
French, just for the record.
Right.
So it's the French kind of implementing that terminology of somebody being in the lowest position of their, because they got a free people of color category just like they have, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
we got to, like you said, the 13 colonies, they're not using, they borrowed that term as we got it into the American system of using it, but property being moved around. Like when you said Spain and the Roman Catholic Church, and from the 1500s were the original people to do all this. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? That's just a fact. And the Negroes that were originally being described, or originally being hit with that Inquisition, weren't coming out of West Africa, by the way. You know what I'm talking about? So, however, that's what I all want to show with that, dog, because I just wanted to make sure, because it had Carter G. Woodson and other things in it, that I worked out good for Black History Month. Make sure we shot him out. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all go read up on Carter G. Woodson. Free Negro has a family. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to Opie Miha. If you go to our channel, our whole page on YouTube, you'll see that he did a whole series covering Carter G. Woodson's book, state by state. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yep.
Tap in.
Yeah, and hold on, we got a comment that says the fact that there were Black slave owners is a big reason why there haven't been reparations, but the government won't say that part. Yeah, and I would also say I don't think it's just, I mean, the fact of the truth of the matter would be is that our people was the ones owning the land. It would have made more sense for us to have more. I'm gonna stop using the word slave because we so tied to it emotionally. We think it mean what it's really mean employee legally. Real
at that
talk.
time, yeah,
at that time, that's what it meant.
Yeah,
so if you got the most land, why would you not have the most employees?
Oh, we're gonna show some reasons. Yeah. We're gonna show some reasons.
And here go Kofi. He say the French colonial areas dealt with chattel slavery, not really the 13 colonies. Exactly.
I said it was the French.
Yeah, people forget that it wasn't just because you hear European, they wasn't all on the same page. They was doing different things in America. This was like the race to the moon. This was their race to the moon. It's the new world, bro. Everybody trying to figure it out and get their piece. All right, so where we going next?
I want to because it's Black History Month, and we ain't gonna be biased, you know what I'm saying? Jack Forbes, shout out to Jack Forbes on Black History Month. You heard me? I like, it's a chapter I think is very important tonight. Shout out to Miss Sherry, you know what I mean? Miss Angela, all the ladies, shout out to the party, you heard me? We've read this on Clubhouse in different times because we read from this chapter a lot. I'm gonna say I always as examples when we have certain conversations, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna give a shout out to him first. Just play a clip real quick before we go to the Blackamoors
clip. Well, you sent me two of them, I think.
I want to go. Let's go with the first one because I think the first one, you know what I mean.
What was it? What was the title?
First one. It's gonna be the one with the reclassification. You hear me? Okay, say that on the front clip of it. You know what I mean? Let everybody catch them just in case they don't know. Jack Forbes.
All right, I got it.
No problem. Yeah. And after that, we show his book.
Yep.
You know?
The audio.
We go to the chapter and everything and get into the details of reading some of this right here to y'all tonight. You know what I mean? And go tell y'all to get that book. That's another book, Black History book you need to go get. We're going to show you. Tap in, though.
In the British colonies along the Atlantic Sea. And the same thing is true in the British colonies along the Atlantic seaboard. In Virginia in 1705, for instance, the government decrees that the child of an Indian will be known as a mulatto. That is, a person who's half white and Indian, half African and Indian will be a mulatto. Legally.
Okay, let me cut you off here because we don't want to keep you here all day. The significance of this being what? What is the lesson? What is this telling us?
Well, There are several things that are significant about it. Of course, one of them is the way that colonialism tries to develop all kinds of elaborate classification terms for different kinds of people. But that's another subject. The most significant thing here is to reveal the much greater amounts of Native American ancestry that are present within the African American population than most people realize, because they might have been misled by the use of terms like mulatto and also people of color. And the same thing is true in the British.
There you go.
Okay, my bad. So Jack Forbes, right? He got this book right here, though. You know what I mean? And that's the buddy. I want you to see how he look and all that. He the one breaking down certain things in this book. Got a lot of other books too. You know what I mean? He's done a lot of things at universities, etc. If you go research him, right? Black History Month, indigenous wise, he be tied to it because of this book right here. I think it's very important for people to get context of what he wrote. Like Carter G. Woodson, I think that this man puts a lot of good information for colonial records, especially in certain chapters. But the one I'm going to highlight tonight is tied to that, mulatto term you heard him just use. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So this is the cover of the book, though, and now we're into. No, you went to the something.
Yeah, my bad.
Ain't no pressure. Ain't no pressure. This is the cover of the book, though, y'all. So the next joint, and that's gonna be the. Hold up. I know I sent it to you now. Let me see which one is it. Okay, maybe I didn't send that bit. I don't know. All right, go hold on real quick. We got to show this. Go ahead and play the next clip that we got for him, right? While I do that. Let me go ahead and send this to you.
All right, hold on.
Crazy work. It's be live, so it's what it is. Hold on.
All right, bring it back.
Yeah.
Let's consider the contributions of Jack D. Forbes, a Native American scholar and activist. Distinguished for his profound contributions to Native American studies and environmentalism, Forbes' work was for the intricate interweaving of cultures, particularly between Native Americans and Negroes. He noted that certain states bore witness to such heavy intermixing that it became a frequent topic of discussion in contemporary literature. In New Jersey, for instance, Forbes pointed out an advertisement from 1734 seeking the recovery of a man named Juan. Described as half Indian and half Negro, Juan was not explicitly labeled a Negro, despite his mixed ancestry. Lastly, let's consider the contributions of Jack D.
All right.
Yeah, so
bro say hold on, he say I had a grandmother that was an employee who was able to purchase land, and that was the early 1800s. Exactly. That's how okay, so I'll make even more sense. You know how these slaves was able to buy their freedom? They was getting paid, bro. That's how they was able to do it. They ain't find somebody who was out the kindness of their heart that just gave it. No, they paid because they was getting paid wages.
That part.
The story just got rewritten because they had to figure out a way to explain this huge population growth and citizenship. But if you understand what we're breaking down, it was reconstructed, the people already on this land, to become these new citizens after the Civil War. Black Europeans was a part of this mix, the Blackamoors. It's where they went. They got written out of history too, just like the Black Indians.
Trust me, and that's why this right here. I'm trying to but listen here. I need this right here. So listen here. I believe it. Can you believe it that I had the exact chapter laid out for y'all too, and it's crazy that
out of the book.
Give me the presentation for Blackamoors. I'm gonna find this joint.
All right, here you go.
All right. let that sit there for 1 second, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody in the chat so far. You know what I mean? That's what it's.
Yeah. So just to get them prepped. So the whole Blackamoor term, we was talking about this on Clubhouse, you know, getting prep for this. And once again, a lot of misconception, a lot of people who are attributing Blackamoor to only certain land masses, or they're giving it an African story without any context. Like it's been widely used, but like the number one story I think people heard is how they heard the Blackamoors, they cleaned up Europe, teaching white folks how to bathe. And so you remember hearing that, Matt?
Of course.
Yeah, they talk about that one a lot, but not really understanding the context of that or the nuance. They love to use that, the nuance of what that means. Some say they came to Europe. There's proof that they've been there for much longer than just some recent migration. You know what I mean? So,
you know, and I think that's the problem with, you know, overall when people look at this term more, they always think of one group of people, but not really understanding like the Muslim, because the Noble Ali and all that, Moorish, you know what I mean? And those terms are all there, you know what I mean, in the context what we're talking about. But within colonial records prior to race theory, Blackamoor predates the race term that they're talking about. The people in Iberia or North Africa, parts of Europe, the term Swarthy is going to be also aligned with this word Blackamoor. You've shown it plenty of times of that as well. So within that context, pre-racial descriptor, Roman medieval, you know what I mean? Status culture, obviously, and complexion. It's not a modern racial category, even though it is a descriptor, as it just said. So it's still not telling you it's a nation of people, you know what I mean? Particularly, or one bloodline of people, you know what I'm saying? It is a descriptor of dark-skinned people, and then the multiple cultures of things that are in these regions going into the 1500s, right? We won't keep on sliding, though. Keep on sliding. I'm trying to multitask at the same time. Can't.
Yeah. Okay. So while you do that, so he says, so makes sense. Reconstruction wasn't about the repair of the destruction by the Civil War. It was to reconstruct the narrative of Black Europeans. So not just Black Europeans, everybody who existed in America at this time, they wanted to rewrite the history of America, period. Because there were white people that was here prior to the Civil War. They just wasn't the majority. We know this from Benjamin Franklin, Observations of Mankind, not our opinion, right? So then, so the Black Europeans getting rewritten, the Black Indian is getting rewritten, and then the white people who would have been state nationals, this birthright nationalism they would have had, is gone now because they come with the federal citizenship that only existed after the Civil War. That ain't no coincidence that the federal citizenship is created immediately after the Civil War. And now you claim all these people through the 13th Amendment that you just said were lost property, slaves, prisoners of war, basically. So now America claims all these people into the new system being naturalized, and there you go. This is where you hear the Sestacuvate Trust. This is where you hear the whole banking system is people are owned. This is where this come from. You know what I'm saying? The 13th and the 14th Amendment made this possible. So they had to have a backstory to explain this, which was the Civil War, the chattel slavery. Everybody's bad. This is what history is. You don't need to go learn it. We told you what the narrative is. Even though when people do their genealogy, white and Black people, they find a completely different story than what they was taught in school. You got white people thinking they own slaves. Whole time they realize, damn, my people ain't even get here till after slavery was abolished. Stuff like that. And the Black Europeans got written out because this was now the story of the white people. This is supposed to be their origin story. It's supposed to be coming from royalty. They assumed this position that was not theirs, but that's what had to work for white supremacy, the system that we folks love to talk about, but don't really understand that that's some new shit too. That ain't ancient. What you looking like, Mac? You got it?
Yeah, I'm shit. I'm trying to find it in my own joint right now, hoping like I didn't miss it, you know. I can find it without having to Like I'm going through all the history, and I'm, things trying
Yeah.
to happen while I'm doing it at the same time. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah,
There it
bro,
is.
say some of these
I found.
Blackamoors mixed in with the American Indian, understanding your Indian more exactly. That's a fact. You sending it?
Yeah, I'm sending it right now.
Yeah, this is how they was able to maneuver. The Black Europeans had the connections. They had the trading. They knew the business of what the Europeans wanted. Obviously, the Indians knew the land. It ain't rocket science. How that could have been an easy collaboration. All right, I got it, man. I'm finna send it.
Slide to the next slide, though. We're gonna come back to this slide, but I needed this source within it so we can walk it. You know what I mean? And put everything on a chronological timeline. See what I'm saying? So I knew I thought I sent it. I'm like, I was thinking everywhere else is right here. Well, whole time sitting right there. Either way. Iberia, though, while he pulls it up, let me know when you got to load it. Iberia, the Blackamoor Bridge. So we always even told you last week, Iberia, Spain, Portugal, you know what I'm saying? Parts of France, Gaul, you know what I mean? That whole area, Iberia, was definitely heavily populated with people they would call Moorish, Blackamoor, Moor, Mara.
Be right back, bro.
You know what I'm talking about? You good? And then within that, present, obviously in that areas, Canary Islands, this all can be the Straits of Gibraltar, you know what I mean, North Africa, Morocco, you know what I mean, all them areas, people tied to what they call Abrahamic faiths. That would be the crypto Jew, that could be certain groups we would call today Muslims of that time period with Tariq and all that. You know what I mean? Not the Tariq Nasheed this time, but either way. At that time period, though, we got to really understand that that's a word that's going to be termed Moorish or Moor in that area. But Blackamoor, right, is English. See what I'm saying? And that's why within the 13 colonies, we had Lee Cummins come on the show plenty of times with the Negro Question series. And that word Negro is being paired with Blackamoor, not African. See, the word African, it don't come into play until after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Until 18th century. So literate, maritime, and multilingual, meaning these people were literally, speaking multiple languages. They weren't just, confounded to one language as if they were isolated. Pre-Atlantic, as it says, pre-plantation, Atlantic agents. You know what I mean? These people were already doing certain things and trade and certain things. And within that context, so we waiting on Monte to come back. As soon as he slide up, I'm gonna go into the next part because Iberia has been very, very technical to this conversation when we always talk about, with Nine Ether Ibn and Yahya El Negro in the 11th century. You know what I mean? It's going to predate, obviously, the term Negro being used from a European standpoint or territorial understanding of who's using these terms. Because it's not an African term. You know what I'm saying? It's not it don't develop out of the languages of people that we would say from the continent. This is going to be a Latin and then derivative term that later on, we use today in America, the Negro. So I don't want to lose my thoughts. So I know I messed up looking for that source. So I'm giving Monty a minute. And while he's doing that, then anybody that's in the chat, shout out to AJ too. I seen you show that I say back to you. It was bad. The E is solid. Shout out to you though for tapping in with us every week. Who else said something real quick? Slide back up. The Jacobites, yeah. And like when we had Lee Cummins on, the Jacobites definitely are tied to this term Blackamoor as a descriptor, some of them. Not all Jacobites are Blackamoors, meaning as a descriptor coming in. Oh, Monte, you back now? So you good?
Yep.
All right, bet. All right, so what's the next slide? Maybe it's going to line up with where I'm trying to go with something.
All right.
Let me see what the next slide is real quick. If not, we're going to go to the source.
All right, you see it?
Yeah, there it is. There it is. All right, so legal reclassification process, religious labor category, Negro equals legal downgrade. So from Blackamoor to being called a Negro is a downgrade. Understand that, right? Like within the systematic understanding of what we're talking about, the Negro is a caste term. You see what I'm saying? No matter what area of dark-skinned people your people come from, even the indigenous people being called Negro puts you in that caste category that gets confused. Even if you were a Negro land owner or slave owner or indentured, you would still be looked at in the social sense, because we're using this word Negro tied to us the way it was put on us after it became now this legal downgrade, a legalized term. Before that, it was just a dark-skinned person. Yeah, Monte. So you can pull up them Jack Forbes joint.
All right.
I'll pull up the Jack Forbes source.
All right, make it a little bigger.
Yeah, make it a little bit bigger for the folk. Now, yeah. All right, so you see, this is the chapter inside that book. And we've been here before. Some people names in here we've gone over it many a times. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I think we showed this a couple of times, but I'm going to go down a little bit more into this joint. So, no, we ain't gonna go to that. Go down to the bottom of this page right here. All right, right there. All right, so as early as the late 19th century, the 19th annual report of Bureau of American Ethnology noted that a considerable portion of the, now we can slide up, blood of the Southern Negroes of the U.S. is unquestionably Indians. Or Indian. It says the 1937 doctoral dissertation of James Hugo Johnston. And I'm gonna show a book that the man wrote, James Hugo Johnston, tonight for Black History Month. You heard me? Yeah. Miscegnation and joint. I'm gonna show that. Belatedly published many years later, went further. There developed in the colonial period much intermixture of the Indian and Negro slave. The class commonly called the mulatto is the result in many instances of the union of three racial elements. To the visitor in the South, the physical characteristics of many Negro slaves bore witness to their Indian origin. The mixed race in America today is the result of the union of the Indian, the Negro, and the white man. See, look how they put that there. Yep. So, and I would like to say, to be inclusive amongst us today in this conversation, he coming after the fact, and Jack Forbes gonna prove it. See, right, man, mixture part they talk about with the mulatto thing that he didn't even make. You heard him mention when he talk about all the different mixtures with the mulatto. The white thing come in later on as far as that mixture go. And them giving that combination of falling into that mulatto, which also one drop of Negro blood, puts you in a free people of color category.
Yep.
Mulatto. However, the Johnston also noted that many Indians were enslaved along the eastern seaboard. The end of the Indian slavery came with final absorption of the blood of the Indian by the more numerous Negro slave. But the blood of the Indian did not become extinct in the slave states, for it continued to flow in the veins of the Negro. In the article published in the Journal of the Negro History, James Hugo Johnston, remarked, where the Negro was brought into contact with the American Indian, the blood of the two races intermingled. Miscegnation. Yeah, the Indian has not disappeared from the land, but is now part of the Negro population of the United States. The later statement might offend many Indians today who still survive, of course, in great numbers as Native Americans, but nonetheless, the significance of Johnston's thesis as regards to the extent of Native American African intermixture. Remember, he's using the word African right here, right? Because that's the book. Remember the book say African on.
Correct.
All right, now watch this now though. Intermixture remains before us. Nor was Johnston alone. Frank H. Russell in the Free Negro in Virginia wrote in 1913 that one of the ways in which the free colored population grew was by mixture of Indians and Negroes. Wait, stop right there again. What did it say?
The mixture of Indians and Negroes.
No. Even more importantly, it says that one of the ways in which the free
the population grew
was the mixture of the Indian and the Negroes.
Right.
He said, also, there is no doubt that a considerable element in the free colored population of the 19th century was of Indian extraction. You heard me? Now, that's really, this man wrote a whole journal on Negroes. You heard me, James? You heard me? Now,
I think we need to add something.
Go ahead.
I ain't realized we ain't even tied together. So if you're not catching, to be completely explicit, the Negroes that they keep describing are the Blackamoors.
What we was about to show these in the same
source. So we're making sure we connecting this. This is where they went.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, man.
Go ahead and slide on down now. Now you said that. We go to the definitions of what Jack Forbes is referencing in source material for Black History Month. As we read that, and because I gotta, we gotta keep sliding here. Paul Cuff, shout out to Paul Cuff. He's mentioned obviously being in this mixture. He's gonna be tied to them journals. You know what I mean? You see it right there, real quick. Flash, boom, bang, keep it moving, slide. You hear me?
All right, where we trying to go?
Keep going. We gonna get down to it right here. It's coming right there. Boom. Look at that, right there on the left hand side, mulatto, right? And that Blackamoor. Okay, yeah. Go down. Look, go down. We want to get to the part we're gonna read into it. Oh, look, stop right there. Look at that part right there where they say there are exceptions to the above trend, however, including Gay Leachich Wright Jr.'s The Only Land They Know. The Tragic Story of the Americans of the Old South, 1981. The Creeks and the Seminoles, shout out to Dr. Dixon, you know what I mean? 1986. Daniel F. Littlefield's Studies of Africans and Seminoles, 1977. The Cherokee Freedmen, 1978. Africans and Creeks, 1979. I see y'all are born, by the way. I'm telling my age. The Chickasaw Freedmen, 1980. Yeah, all that right there. Keep on sliding though. Like this is all correlated to what they call Black history. On the first of the month, that Black and that Blackamoor conversation. You hear me? Now look, elsewhere, here we come at the bottom right there. I want to make sure you see right there, British North America colonies. You see that paragraph where it says primary purpose?
Yeah.
Is to clarify the use of the terms such as mulatto and free colored in the British North American colonies, and incidentally to shed preliminary light on the relations between Black, African, and Native Americans. As elsewhere, I will use the term American for Indians in the colonial era and African rather than Negro for presumably unmixed sub-Saharan Africans. You hear how you said that? He's making a distinction there, right?
Yeah.
You see that? Make sure you let you know.
This is how stuff get done. So the Negro became African. So every time you see the African now, that's revisionist of what they would have been using as the Negro, which was, so this is how the Blackamoor, the Black Indian, and everybody in between that had melanated skin, all their nationalities got written out with the Black shit. It took away all this. As soon as they went to Africa and Black, it was over with.
That part. Now slide to the top of the other one, right? Now he's going to show it. This is why he's going to show it this way. You know what I mean? As we read it, we want you to see all these words is going to be tied to this, this is how you read it. You know what I mean? This is how it's set up. So 1590s, the term was borrowed from Spanish and usually referred to persons met with the Caribbean or South America. Early Spanish definitions of the term make it highly probable, indeed virtually certain, that much persons were usually half African and half American. John Michenou has already defined a mulatto in 1599, 1617, and later as a person who was the child of a Moro. You see that how it's spelled? M-A-U-R-O, or Blackamoor, and one from another nation. This is extremely accurate and timely definition reflected Spanish usage very well. Now let us review other, situations that you see gonna come in here now. John Floro, 1611, does not include mulatto, his dictionary, but has muletto. It's still gonna say mule, a bastard. You see that word Blackamoor. You see Ethiop. Thomas Blunt, remember just going over this, we showed this before, but we want to make sure it all goes together. Thomas Blunt, 1656, they're using the term what? Blackamoor, and a man of another nation. Edward Phillips, 1658, states mulatto, Spanish, one whose father is a blackamoor and his mother of another nation or contrarily. But in 1702, John Kersey broadens the scope of the concept mulatto, a son of a Negro. So how it went from a blackamoor to Negro right there. See, he in his own situation went from blackamoor in his own joint into now changing it to this. See how that worked? In the same, he updated and went from blackamoor to Negro. So this is how you know that the blackamoor was the term that people went into the now being in a category called Negro within the colonies, free people of color, and just like how somebody that's coming out of Africa could be put into the same category as Negro as well, because it's not, it don't belong to just some.
It's a catch-all for anybody.
Yeah, Indians too. That's why we know. You know what I mean? In addition to people that mix with anything, they get put in that category too. Feel me? Now, slide down a little bit more. Obviously, he shows you Virginia, 1705, Blackamoor, you know what I mean? In the dictionary, although in 1708, you see how that right there? Chambers Cyclopedia, 1724, shows you again, you know what I mean? Bailey, Nathan Bailey, shout out to this man in Black history, what he got with this right here, dealing with the mulatto, as one born of parents of whom one is a Moor and the other another nation. He also states that a Moor is a native of Mauritania, that's North Africa, in Africa, a Blackamoor. This would seem to imply that a mulatto could be a child of a North African, not West African. See, sub-Saharan, on the other page, it just says sub-Saharan, right?
Yeah.
Sub-Saharan. That's going to be West Africa, West Central Africa. These people aren't tied to that area. They're tied to North Africa and being in Iberia and being in Europe, because they already have history tied to being heritage with Rome, Roman citizens, as Lee Cummings would like to say. Negroes were Roman citizens, right? Those people who were Roman citizens that would be called today Negroes were called Moors, and now in English are being called Blackamoors. Yeah, that's right there. Got to be laid out, and they're the ones coming into the colonies, mixing it with indigenous people that have them surnames that a lot of us got to. Yeah, make sure you got that right. Go ahead.
So he says that'll be more in the north. Our ancestors refused to mix with them Blackamoors in the south. That's why majority of them got kicked out of the south. That's not true.
That's not true, because that sounds like they only went north. No, bro. If they're getting exiled into what we know as the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida,
Louisiana got buku.
Alabama,
all of the south.
Going to the north of what we call today New York, Delaware, Philadelphia. No, that's not.
France was the first to sail the whole Mississippi, and they was on record of doing business with the Indians, all from Canada all the way down to Louisiana.
They're mixing with people up and down the whole East Coast.
Yeah.
Period. The whole East Coast.
Yeah, I can't say that's not true. Like I can't say that. Nah.
But yeah, as we keep going though, can we get to the page where it gets to some cases and shit? Then the same group of people, right? Because so obviously, matter of fact, look, as he said that, look what it says. Chambers Encyclopedia, 1724-41, states mulatto, a nation given in the Indies to those who are begotten by a Negro man or an Indian woman, or an Indian man or a Negro woman. This significant definition, so Kersey's of 1702, undoubtedly reflects Spanish usage as well as practice in where? South Carolina. That's not in the North. You heard me? Yeah. No, that's not how that worked. However the case, we know a lot of Jacobites went into the Carolinas, right?
Yeah.
We already know that. Georgia, we already know that. So we ain't gonna try to delineate nothing. We in America, we ain't got time for that. The different approach appears in English Portuguese dictionary, the English 1701. English side does not have the term mulatto, while the Portuguese term is defined as the mixture between a white and a black. English black is translated as escuro, obscure, dark, or sombre, shady sombre, as well as Negro or petro. So the Portuguese are using different terms than the Spanish in the later 13 colonies for their mulatto term. Samuel Johnson, you know what I mean? He obviously got it there too. See what I'm saying? And this is all in the time frame before race theory came about. All these definitions and these dictionaries that are tied to American history and the people classifying these categories of people within the colonial era of America prior to 1775. This is what they're talking about. The population mixture is with them surnames, especially in the Southeast, since, what do you want to say, the North? what I'm talking about? So go down to 204. Go to 204 real quick if you don't mind. 202.
202.
Yeah, it should have the top slide. You should see a page number. You guys see at the top, you see a page? Okay, keep going. We're going to go down real quick.
Okay.
All right, 202. All right, so now, in the sense of that mulatto thing, now that I hope people got it, Blackamoor, Negro, Indian mixture, you know what I'm saying? That mixture, right? That's the mixed term right there. Now that mulatto, look at this right here where it says the Nottoway as an example on 202, where it says another interesting case is afforded by the Nottoway tribe, a reservation group in Southampton County, Virginia. In 1808, a partial census of the tribe identified, for example, Littleton Schooler, I might be pronouncing that wrong, age of 51, as an Indian
scholar.
I'm tripping, right?
Or shoulder.
I don't think that's
Nah.
Schooler. I would have said that's Schooler. You know what I mean? Something like that. Whatever. SCHOLLAR. You hear me? I apologize to that person's last name.
Yeah.
As an Indian full blood with a white wife. In the 1830 U.S. Census, however, Littleton's son, Billy, and Ned are listed as free people of color. And all of the surviving full-blood Nottoways are listed in the same manner. Look at that. 1844, the enumeration of free Negroes as mulattoes in Southampton County listed certain mulatto children, including Alex, Bob, Samuel, Gideon, that last name right there, all children of a white mother. The scholar do not appear to have any African ancestry, but are regarded nonetheless as mulattoes. Most of other Nottoways with some African ancestry are classified as mulattoes or as what? Free Negroes. Another case involves the Scott family of the Indians in Richmond, Virginia. William Scott was listed as an Indian in the tax rolls of 1780s. By the 1810, Billy Scott was called a free person of color with nine in his household. By the 1850, the oldest William Scott in the area, age 49, was classified as M in the census, as was his probable son. All other William Scotts were classed as either B, which is going to be black, or mulatto. In Henrico County, 1853, the grand jury charged William Scott Sr., a free Negro, for retailing ardent spirits to be drunk at the place where sold without a license. The defendant moved the court to permit him to withdraw his pleas of not guilty and plead that he was not a free Negro, but an Indian. The court held that to be immaterial since the charge was the same for whites, Indians, or free Negroes, nigga. Nigga, get out of it either way. You know about?
Mm-hmm.
He like, look, man, I'm going on my mama's side. I'm Indian, right?
Hey, shout out to Kevin Wills for the $20 super chat, bro. Appreciate that.
For sure.
That's love, man.
That's for sure. You know what I mean? Get this book, man. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Jack Forbes. You can go to chapter 7. I can't read the whole thing to y'all tonight, you heard me? But shout out to Kevin for that right there. You heard me? Now look, it's more cases now. It's more cases. Let's go down a little more. This is all tied to that Blackamoor Negro, who later we called, an African because of how the system classified people, right?
Yep. Where you trying to go to?
Oh, right there. Many other examples could be cited, including that of the widespread Goen. You see the different variations, how the surname can be spelled. Goen or Gowin. Family descended probably from the Goen, an Indian servant to Mr. Thomas Bushrod, who was to be free in 1676. This Goen, in turn, may be the child of one of Mahil Goen, Negro late servant, who was discharged from service in 1657 in York County, and who had a son named William, born to a woman belonging to a white lady. The later gave up all claims on the child, but it is possible that he was later indentured. this is not the only example of interchangeable use of Negro and Indian in Virginia. Oh, Lord. Now, this is all showing you, this is all happening with people with surnames and, Blackamoor, not Africans.
That still exists today.
That still, people got that Negro mixture. That Negro was Blackamoor, wasn't a West African. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
In most cases. Now, we know that West Africans came, but that's not the prominent thing that Jack Quartz is talking about.
They aren't the biggest part of the mix.
Right. This the situation that's really happening in the records of colonial society. They're using the word Blackamoor everywhere. Everywhere. Right. All the records are using the word that until mid 1700s. You know what I mean?
When they get wiped out of European history.
Right. All that's being right now. They're being lumped into a category just being called the Negro or free people of color. Whereas we know in our history and records, when we see people that say they got Indian, mulatto, or Negro on their records or black, we know, before 1865 or prior to even 1775, that mixture of situation been going on in North America, especially the Southeast or the East Coast.
Yep.
From the very start. 15th century. 1596, it showed you. Now, they want to talk about, well, Mac, how do we have proof that them people were not coming out of really North Africa? Since said the people were, North African. Go to that real. Can you keep this here before we? I want to come back to this. Can you remember this?
Yeah.
All right. Go to that one joint you was getting ready to show with Queen Anne. We're gonna do it with her real quick. Yeah. Let's show that in her real quick. But now them Blackamoors. This is tied to the Queen Anne. That's going to be the 13 colonies right here. This is the crowns tied to the 13 colonies. English, the Tudors. You know what I mean? The Tudors are the ones using the term Blackamoor. You heard me? You see the time frame where it say 1596 there?
Yep. Too many Blackamoors. Deportation, discrimination, and Elizabeth I.
Oh, listen here. Now, look. Look what it say. In 1596, Queen Elizabeth issued an open letter to the Lord Mayor of London announcing that there are of late divers Blackamoors brought into this realm, of which kind of people there are already here. It says, which kind of people there are already there. I mean, there's people already there. Here too many. I mean, there's a lot of people there. You know what I'm talking about? And ordering that they be deported from the country. 1 week later, she reiterated her good pleasure to have those kind of people sent out of the land and commissioned the merchant Casper Van Seeden to take up certain Blackamoors here in this realm and to transport them into Spain and Portugal. Finally, in 1601, she complained again about the great numbers of negars. See how they got it? How they got negars? And they spell out name all sorts of ways. And Blackamoors. So you see the word Negro, negars, and Blackamoors are going together, right? They're being called Negro and Blackamoor synonymously. Yeah. All right. So you see it, not me making this up. This is them doing this. So now she say, oh, here we go. As she is informed, or crept into this realm to fame them as infidels, having no understanding of Christ or his gospel, and one last time authorized their deportation. England was, of course, no stranger to strangers, nor to discrimination against them, as Laura Hunt, Young Blunt, Wishon, European immigrants constituted a noticeable part of English population starting in the 12th century. Although they could gain some rights of citizenship, like not like how we is in America now. Yeah, you heard me. Yep. We got all full rights after the 13th through the 15th. But them people were in that region and they were in the position where they don't, kind of like, you know what I'm talking about? You know, and this is, yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, you see how that worked? Yeah, that's right. That's showing that was getting deported back then.
They talking about immigration back then, bro.
Immigration back then, basically, like, look, these people aren't really tied to this area, but they hear a lot.
Yeah, they got expelled from Portugal and Spain, and you dump all them people in this little ass area where they already got buku black people, and we got our own problems, bro.
Yeah, that part. We got to deport them. They got to go stop. You say it's sending them into where? England, into Spain and Portugal, right?
Yep.
And then Spain and Portugal is going to send them into Angola. You heard me? And once you get to Angola, you a Negro.
Done.
You're a Negro. You got your surname still when you come across the water and everything. You still gonna be a Negro though. You know what I mean? Yep. You're being shipped like property. You've been insured. You've been insured. You hear me? You're transportable. You're deportable and transportable. Chattel, removable property. You know what I'm talking about? Insured. Yeah. RAC, Royal African Company comes in. You know, we talk about that. King James Peoples later on that went behind his back. King Charles II and all that. Yeah. So either way, all that right there is inside of this. So that's just the proof. With this look, English at Rutgers University let you know the source where I'm getting it from. You know what I mean? Professor coming from the University of Rutgers. Shout out to them for this information. You know what I'm talking about? Keep it moving. Yeah, I don't want y'all think I make this up. If it's on me, it's on the university. Don't get mad at me. You know what I'm talking about? No, don't do that. We just showing you what's there. And we going doing our own research, but this is the presentable thing to show you with the timeline. See, 1596. And when we just showed you the Jack Forbes chapter with the mulatto, it showed you literally how they got 1596. They John Michenou, he's showing you going into 1600s. They're using the word Blackamoor in another nation of people. See what I'm saying? That again, not to throw off the mixture of things that took place with the people coming out of Iberia that went into Blackamoors that went into Angola to mix with them people. That's how we get Creole. Luso African, they call it Luso. Lencando, Lasando. Them people right there. Them people, yeah, that's how we get Creole with the K. You know what I'm talking about? Portuguese. And then after that, the French got they mixed, you know what I'm saying? And it's Creole still. It's Creole because it's a mixture. And definitely Angola. People that ended up in that kind of had that mixture, that language and all. That gives credit to Black History Month, to what they like to highlight the most of the people tied to West Africa, the Guinea, Angola. I give shout out to Angola for any of that information right there. But however, the Blackamoor is not tied to or indigenous to Angola. See what I'm saying?
Right.
A Blackamoor could be sent to Angola,
right?
But that don't mean he's from Angola.
Correct.
Because he's in an exiled position, deported. Don't, hey, you get deported, aren't you not being exiled out? Like, aren't you not kind of like, you know what I'm talking about? Look, hey, you got to go. Talking about, yeah, slide. So here we go though. Race relations in Virginia. This is tied to Hugo, the guy that we just read to y'all. So vibe with us. Race relations in Virginia, miscegnation in the South from 1776 to 1860. You heard? So go get that book, another book right there for Black History Month. If you're doing your research on your people in these regions, especially in the South, I'm talking about because he covered the Negro Journal joint too. Right here, this man right here. You feel me? So we can go back now. I'm gonna go over like 5 more minutes because how I messed up earlier and not trying to find the source. I want to read a little bit more from that mulatto joint. We can go to the slide and we out of here. We gonna slide. You heard me? Appreciate y'all for
where we going though? What you say?
Go back to the real quick. There's one more thing I want to show within that chapter 7. You know what I mean? Yeah. There we go. Go. What page that was there? Go down one more. We'll go to Mestizo. You see that word Mestizo in the corner over there? Yeah. Got slide though. 204. Go to 204. That's it. Look at that Blackamoor right there. Shout out to me and God Green was talking about this earlier week. We were talking about Whitemoors. Is it a Whitemoor? Remember? You know what I'm saying? Well, chat was like Whitemoor. Yeah, well, that came in later on being called a Whitemoor because he's mixing with people that are Moors, right? But at the same time, tawny Moor, right? So if you light skin, red, you know what I mean? Real light skin, you heard? Yeah, not a Blackamoor. There it is right there. It's in there. A Blackamoor, a tawny young maid, a slave will make hard shift, but she will be in fashion. The entire of this baser sort of people of Blackamoors and mulattoes, which are mixed nature of Spanish Blackamoors, is so light and their carriage so enticing that many Spaniards disdain their wives for them. That's some women, them tawny Blackamoor women. Everybody like today, them red skin. You have them yellow looking black ladies. They call them Blackamoors. Tawny. Either way though, Gage, ex-Catholic priest, was describing his memory of Mexico City after the passage of 20 years, and we may suspect that his definition of mulatto is not intended to be precise to exact genetic makeup of part African people. He is describing subsequently, see, I always mess up there, subsequently I mess it up all the time.
Subsequently.
Thank you. You said it for me. Yeah, I say it after you have to say it, right? He frequently refers to Indians, mestizos, mulattoes, and blackamoors in Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama, and elsewhere, but he never induces any term for African-American hybrids as such. So within this context, what you're seeing today, within this and all the mixtures of folk, the word blackamoor predates the race theory and the terms you see them using within the records, in from easily the 1500s going into the 1776 and beyond, right? But the race theory kicks in and it becomes popular, and then politics and propaganda get tied to it too. And now people start to use the word Negro and African, even though it was blackamoor then Negro then African, based off of systematic descriptions and people in that word Negro, people that are not, who were not from here, right? Who came here and mixed in with the indigenous population. See what I'm saying? In this time frame. And we're free people of color. See how that shit work with those surnames. Here we go. That's what I wanted to show you. We can go to the slide on for Black History Month, man. Throw this in the chat form too, man. Let them get that chapter 7, man. Because that's it. Hey, join Maroonville again. We'll give out these books right here. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to make sure you see. So right before we slide, because I got people coming in the studio right now. Trust me, they waiting. So that's all it is to it, though. The Blackamoors situation, making America, mixtures, and everything like that. Slide down a little bit. Gullah. So that's a missing Atlantic, Iberian Atlantic, explains Creole formation. And slide down a little bit more. Why Blackamoor belongs, restores Atlantic utility, anchors spiritual survival, legal status shifts, all that is there. So one more time. I think we're almost there. Blackamoor versus African. Blackamoor equals Atlantic identity. African equals modern continental label, which is some later shit, and it's not interchangeable. You heard me? So don't put Blackamoor, the Negro, with the African, even though we give shout out to the people that are tied to the Guinea and things like that. But this word African is a modern continental race theory term. So with that being said, Blackamoor in America. That's the joint on Black History Month. Just, you know what I mean? I don't know if we got any more left, but I got some slide anyways. It's a busy night for me anyway. It's crazy, right? First of the month.
That's it, bro.
But tap in with us then, and we good. And hope y'all like the show, breakdown, Blackamoor and everything like that, and what and everything we showed you tied to the Negro, Black American, free Negro, chattel, indentured, mixed Indian, whatever mixture and everything that's taking place. So tap into us. We see you next week Sunday. Matter of fact, we lying. We ain't gonna be here next week Sunday. It's the Super Bowl, so we're gonna slide and chill. But we'll see you the week after that. And obviously it's Maroonville weekend coming up. So look forward to a lot of things we dropping, shorts and everything coming in Black History Month, as they call it. So Maroonville, we out. Peace.
Peace.
They said my story's in a file, a barcode born to reconcile. But when I breathe, I feel the flame of every soul that wore my name.
They test my blood, but not my song. They name me right, but spell me wrong. Every drop still testifies. We survived what couldn't die.
We remember the hands that pray, yeah. We remember the price they paid. We remember the light, the climb, 'cause the blood remembers time. We remember who we are,
No code, no lamb, no star.
Measure who we are. From the field to the skyline, from the roots to the divine. We remember our name, 'cause the blood remembers time.
Testifying our glory.
old. We remember the old and young. The fight still lives in every tongue. They tried to write us out the page, but we remember. Our truth don't age with time or cage. We remember. The blood still moves from line to line. We remember. Every prayer becomes a sign. We remember. The bayou winds in Carolina rain. We kept our roots through joy and pain. Yeah. They built their test. We built our tribe. And the proof is still alive. We remember the name they changed. We remember. We remember what they rearranged. We remember. We remember in heart and mind. The blood remembers time. We remember. We remember who we are. Who we are. We remember near or far. Our spirit still. Still dusty as he died. They can test this flesh and every name, every prayer, every sign, every name, every the blood remembers time.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pair of races? My lineage free people of color with a left maker. Each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lusty. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folk. But you never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.